Just
Hello, friends. I'm Monica Nagpal from Hope and Happiness, and it is my mission to help each person tap into their inherent potential of being happy and hopeful so that they can lead a meaningful and fulfilled life. In the current series, From Ordinary to Exemplary, I'm speaking to women who have become exemplary by tapping into their feminine power. And today I welcome Sapna Bhattacharya. Welcome,
hi,
Sapna.
hi. Thank you so much for having me here.
Most welcome. So I will give a introduction to Sapna, which is not brief, and that is why I will have to read it. Yes. So Sapna did her postgraduate diploma in mass communication from Xavier's Institute of Communication. And there she had to submit a research paper, and the title was Relevance of Women's Magazines in Social Development. And then she had done her freelancing with papers like Afternoon, Midday, The Sunday Observer, and magazines like Eve's Weekly, Femina, and Star and Style. She has also produced television serial Amanat for ZTV and Challenge for Sony TV. Her short stories have been featured in Chicken Soup for the Indian Soul and Chicken Soup for the Indian Mother's Soul. One of her short stories has been made into a short film, 10 past 12, and has won various awards in festivals in India and internationally also. At present, she keeps herself busy, and she just says like that she is very, very good at it. With her travels, writing, and contributing regularly to her delicious recipes in the blog sapnascopia.wordpress.com. I really tell everybody to follow this. And being the creative producer at Anand, the Creative Workshop, a production house being managed by her son. Wow, amazing. Sapna, welcome. And it is an honor for us to you be here. Please,
Thank you so much.
some reflection on this bio that you have shared. Give us some reflection that what is and how do you do all this?
Half of them are my hobbies,
Wow.
which became profession. Maybe started off to be something else, but as life goes on, you adapt yourself and you keep on moving. So things just happen. But yes, I always loved cooking and baking. So as I started having dinners, people thought that, I cook well. Some people kept on asking me for recipes. So I thought, why not have a blog? And then writing was always there since I was a kid. Even as a kid, my mother used to tell me that as my rough books used to be full of short stories. I would say I have still not reached my full potential because, since I took a gap in my career, I've still not been able to get my book published because I've been out of touch with the whole field today.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling was also a passion. I always wanted to travel. I always wanted to see the world because it opens you up. It makes you more flexible. It lets you know a lot of things. It takes away the rigidity which we are born with.
Absolutely, absolutely.
To be stuck with particular beliefs, to be stuck with particular ideas. When you go out, meet different people, see different cultures, travel to different places, you actually open up.
Wonderful. Absolutely right, Sapna. So what is that one thing which really brought about this real transformation from the way you were before and how you really took up these hobbies and then you made them into your profession? Do you think there was a little transformation which happened, and what brought about this kind of a transformation?
Transformation, again, as I said, it was as life carried on. Frankly speaking, when I started off as a kid, I think everybody asks you when you're a kid that what do you want to be? I used to say I want to be a doctor and a dancer. Dad was a doctor, so yes, I wanted to follow in that profession with him. But unfortunately, the time when I actually had to take my medical exams, the first time I couldn't get through. Second time, I had lost my dad, and with that went away the will to get into medical profession, because there was nothing like to whom to come back to. The dreams were like, we will together sit down and we will together have a nursing home of our own, and dad would have been retired by the time I would have passed out. So, then it was like, no, this is not the dream I want to pursue anymore. That was a very confusing phase in my life. I shifted to Bombay from Faridabad and didn't know much of Bombay. It was Bombay at that time, now it's Mumbai. And I didn't know what to do with myself. But somewhere the passion of writing kept calling me. And I just happened to, things fell into place, I'll say, and somebody recommended Xavier's, and I just sat for the entrance exam and I was through. I was through with it. So, yes, and surprisingly, Monica, I want to share this with you. Today is the day when my mentor at Xavier's, she has passed away. She just passed away today morning. I got the news, so I just wanted to mention it in this.
That is really sad, yes. But
so
you
I was
legacy on.
Pardon?
You are keeping the legacy on, so that is a very good way of giving that kind of a gratitude to her.
To her, yes. But then I somewhere realized she had more trust, more faith in me than myself. So that's how I got into journalism. Then as life moved on, it kept on. It was never constant for me. There were constant changes in my life, circumstantial changes. And fortunately for me, I kept on adapting those changes.
Right.
I kept on changing with those changes.
Yes.
And holding the actual me there. But I adapted very well, and I'm proud of it to say that.
Wonderful.
So that,
yeah.
That didn't lead to any kind of frustration, basically.
Correct. So that is the feminine energy, that is the feminine power. We are talking about the flexibility, which she has just shown that how flexible she was, but inside her core was solid. She kept her essence intact. That was the most important thing which she had. So what were the learnings you can say out of those experiences? You can enumerate one or two. What are the learnings from those circumstances which happened without any forced bearings like that? How did that happen?
The very foremost learning which came across was somewhere that strength is within you and you're not aware of it. You just have to look within and pull that strength out and just go for it. The second thing is, life is too short. Make as many memories you can with the loved ones, because those beautiful memories are the ones which will always keep you pushing forward.
Yes. Very profound. He said that we have to look inside. A person keeps wandering outside, getting all the delight and happiness from outside, but actually everything is inside. So that is really profound, Sapna. Thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. So now, since we are talking about feminine power and feminine energy, and coming from inside is actually the feminine strength. Like you say, no, it is the earth which is the nurturing thing, and it has everything inside. No, nothing is outside. The earth, bed of the earth has everything inside. So the strength is inside. So what is that one strength of yours? What is that one feminine strength of yours which you think will be helping you to keep afloat in any circumstances further in your life henceforth?
I would again say that the capacity to always find the strength from within and to be a nurturer. As a woman, I inherit it. I'm born with it, to nurture. to be creative, to create. Create is not only, like doing paintings and, create an environment around you which is beautiful, a positive environment. That is also creativity.
Yes.
So that is the biggest strength, I would say.
Yes. So of course, creating, as you said, it is not about drawing and dancing. Creating an environment where you are helping the other person also to get stronger, to become happier, to be at peace. So creating that environment is actually the most important strength of a feminine. So the feminine power is about creating. It is not a linear power. It is a very, very circular power, so to say, all embracing. So we are not wanting to head something, to lead, but we want to collaborate. We don't want to compete. We want to collaborate. So that is why it is like a circle. We want everybody to be inside that. So Sapna, tell me now that who is that you are able to really nurture with your kind of books, the way you write, the way you cook. How do you think this is really like that creative instinct in you, which is there through writing and cooking, and the way you are doing things around you? How are you able to really nurture that kind of feelings in the women around yourself?
Women around, there are people around me, there are women around me who, actually have at times tried to look up at me. Although I always tell them that I'm not a very good example to look up at. But for that reason, many of them try to get influenced by the fact that being single is good. I would not say that. Again, I would say the circumstances were such that I was single, and I basically was a person who is happy as a single person. But nurturing is also having a family. Yes. Nurturing is also bringing up kids, which I did, though they were not my own, but yes, I did bring them up. Nurturing is also taking care of, anything, going and doing anything for the society. Like I would say, for my cooking, just the other day, my son's friend, she's shifted to a family who's vegetarian, and she must have been craving for non-veg, and the family is open about her eating, but according to the traditions, maybe she can't cook at a place. So I just cooked and sent the food to her. She was happy, I was happy. It was a simple, basic act. But the day was different for me. The day was different for her.
Yes, so that is the basic kindness. You can say the generosity, that kindness. And one thing you forgot, Sapna, that we have to nurture ourselves. Yes.
Biggest thing, yes. In a way, like, by making people happy, you're nurturing yourself. If that is your part. Respect your body, respect yourself, nurture yourself. Many times people, you come across the expression that you're single, why are you getting ready? Who are you dressing up for? And I could never understand it, because I always dressed up for myself. It always gave me happiness. It was never to show it to somebody, or it was never to compete to look better than somebody. In fact, till date, frankly speaking, I withdraw from competition.
Right.
As a woman, we are not here to compete.
Correct.
We are not here to compete. We are here for self-fulfillment.
Absolutely.
And that self-fulfillment is going to fulfill the people around us.
So that is what we say, when you shine, you give the permission to all others shine in your environment.
Exactly.
So I see that bright shine in your smile, Sapna. Yeah. So now I would like you to give a small message, or you can say about how you can encourage women to overcome any challenges in their life, and work from their feminine power? I know you have already said it, but if you could add anything more you would like to add.
I would say never ever shy from your feminine side. That's your strength. You will come across situations where, you would want to be like a man. You are greater than a man. If you weren't greater than a man, then the universe wouldn't have given you the power to bring a life into this world. Somewhere the universe decided that you can bring a life into this world because you are stronger than anybody else.
Yes.
Don't shy away from your feminine power. Bring a balance between your feminine and the masculine power.
Yes.
Be strong.
Very
if you feel to step out, you need to be physically strong. Learn those things without compromising on your femininity.
Correct.
Be soft spoken. Be kind. Be ready to give. But if at any stage you feel you need it for yourself, fulfill yourself first and then give.
Right.
And be, as a female, always be ready to make choices.
So wonderfully said, Sapna. What I can say is that we have to really be able to not shy away from our feminine power, because that is our strength. Being vulnerable is our strength. Being emotional is our strength. So we should not say that we are sensitive, so people will say that you are weak. No, because you are sensitive, you are able to understand the folks around you. Because you are vulnerable, you are able to have that kind of a bond with the people around you. Otherwise, if you are just stone-hearted, if you have built walls around you, it will not help. Instead, build boundaries. At least over the boundary, you could see each other. But if there is a wall, you will never be able to. You are just cut off. So it is good to have boundaries, but not walls. That is what I have also learned from coming out of from my feminine self, to really understand that yes, I have the freedom to make a choice. I have that strength to bring out my feminine power in spite of being very soft in my voice. It is only my body language which is more important. It is not my sternness in my attitude which will help me to bring across that yes, no is no. That is what the latest thing is, that yes, no is no.
No, yes.
Right. So very, very much thank you, Sapna. This was so wonderful of you to really come along and share your wisdom regarding the feminine power. I'm sure everybody listening would have really got some takeaway from this, and they will really feel empowered after listening to what you have said. So girls and women out there, we are going to launch a program called Devi, and this is based on the feminine power, and the Devi is going to emerge in the Navratras. The program is going to be launched in the Navratras, and Devi means dynamic emergence of your visionary intuitiveness. And here we will be able to bring out or reclaim our feminine power. We will help you to bring out and work from your feminine power, make this feminine power your strength. So thank you everybody for listening this, and thank you Sapna so much. It was really a great honor for you to be here. Thank you
so much for having me over. Thank you.
Namaste.